Chapter 1. The Faces That Matched. A photograph. Nothing more than a photograph. 6 children. Same white blonde hair, same cut. Same fringe, trimmed to the same length, like they'd been measured with a ruler. Same clothes, same blank expression, same eyes, fixed on something just past the camera. Look closer, they don't just look similar, they look identical. Not siblings, not twins, copies. This isn't a family photo, this is evidence. Melbourne, Australia. August 1987. Rain hammers a corrugated roof somewhere in the hills outside the city. Inside a compound hidden behind 2 locked gates and a wall of pine trees, 28 children are asleep, or pretending to be. They don't know their real birthdays, they don't know their real parents. Some of them don't even know their real names. At 6 a.m., headlights cut through the fog, police vehicles, social workers. A convoy that has been planned for months, kept secret because the last 3 attempts to get near this property ended in nothing. Lawyers, obstruction, disappearing paperwork. This time they don't knock, doors are forced. Children are woken by strangers in uniform. Some scream, some go rigid, silent, trained for exactly this moment, because they'd been told again and again that this day would come, that the outside world was dangerous, that these strangers would come to hurt them. What the officers find inside will take Australian authorities years to fully untangle. Fabricated birth certificates, children legally sourced through channels no orphanage would recognize, a regime of starvation used as discipline, and presiding over all of it, a woman in her 60s, calm, composed, already vanishing into the crowd of followers gathering at the gate. She is not a mother, she is not a grandmother, though several of these children have been told to call her that. She calls herself something else entirely, a living god. Her name is Anne Hamilton-Byrne, and by the time the sun rises fully over that compound, she will already be 3 steps ahead of the people trying to find her. This is the story of how a yoga teacher from Melbourne built a private religion out of stolen children and very nearly got away with it. Chapter 2. The Woman Who Rebuilt Herself. Before she was a god, she was no one in particular. Born in rural Victoria, a childhood scattered by poverty, by a father who drifted in and out, by a mother eventually committed to a psychiatric institution. Nothing about this beginning suggested what would come next, but she was watching, learning, building something. By the 1960s, she has a new name, a new posture, a new voice, soft, deliberate, the kind that makes people lean in. She teaches yoga classes in Melbourne, nothing unusual. Stretching, breathing, relaxation for tired professionals. Except she is choosing her students carefully. Doctors, psychiatrists, lawyers, a judge's wife, educated people, credentialed people. People whose belief in her would later lend her credibility no ordinary con artist could buy. She tells them she has died and been reborn. She tells them she has seen the future, a coming apocalypse, survivable only by the enlightened few gathered around her. They believe her. Some of these followers are psychiatrists with access to a private clinic. That access becomes useful. Patients are introduced to her. Some never leave her orbit again. And then come the children, not born to her, never born to her. Acquired through followers who bear children and hand them over for the cause, through informal adoptions arranged off the books, through paperwork quietly altered so that a name on a birth certificate no longer matches a face. Some children are simply never registered as existing at all. By the mid-1970s, she has assembled nearly 30 of them, dresses them alike, dyes their hair the same shade of blonde, tells the outside world they are all her own, an impossible biological family that no one questions closely enough because the people vouching for her wear white coats and carry law degrees. She is no longer a yoga teacher, she is building a bloodline that isn't hers, out of children who don't know it isn't real. Chapter 3. The Farm at Kai Lama. The property sits in the hills at Eildon, fenced, gated, watched. Locals call it strange, insular, the kind of place you don't get invited to and don't try to visit twice. Inside, life runs on rules no child chose. Meals are rationed, sometimes withheld entirely as punishment. A child who breaks a rule may go a day without food, sometimes longer. Hunger becomes a tool, not an accident. Discipline is physical, frequent. Documented later by the children themselves, once they are old enough, safe enough, far enough away to speak. And then there is the LSD, followers with medical credentials, real doctors holding real licenses, administer psychedelics to children as young as 5. It is framed as therapy, as spiritual advancement, as preparation for a coming reckoning only the initiated will survive. A child under the influence, disoriented, frightened, is easier to control. Easier to convince that the world beyond the gate is the danger, not the compound, not the woman who says she is God. Contact with the outside is minimal. Homeschooling replaces real school. Names are changed. Ages are altered on paperwork, so even birthdays, a thing every child on Earth is entitled to know, are stripped away. Some of these children will spend decades unsure of their own age. The compound has a name, borrowed from Tibetan Buddhism, softened into something that sounds peaceful. There is nothing peaceful happening inside it. Chapter 4. The Raid That Changed Everything. By the mid-1980s, cracks are showing. A former follower speaks to authorities, then another. Details leak. The fabricated documents, the psychiatric clinic feeding her children, the discipline regime. Nobody outside the gates was meant to see. Investigators try to get in. Legal challenges stall them. Paperwork vanishes. Followers close ranks. Then, in 1987, they get through. The raid at dawn uncovers exactly what the reports described, and worse. 28 children, most bearing no legitimate legal identity, starvation as punishment, a drug regimen no medical board would ever sanction, a woman at the center of it who, by the time the gates are breached, is already gone, moved offshore, first to the United States, evading arrest for years. Interpol eventually catches up with her. Extradition follows. But when she is finally tried, the charges that stick are comparatively minor. Perjury related to the falsified birth records. Not the years of abuse the children lived through. The legal system of the 1990s has no framework built for what she did. She dies in 2019 in a nursing home, having never served serious time for what happened at Eildon. The children, now adults, spend years piecing together who they actually are. Real birth dates, real names, real parents, in some cases traced decades later. Cults like this one don't end when the leader is arrested. They end, if they end at all, in the slow work of victims reclaiming a self that was manufactured for them before they could object. The gate at Eildon is gone now. The story isn't.